right. All right. Am I on? Okay. Welcome everyone to Unity of Richmond. Glad to have everybody here today. Want to welcome everybody here in the sanctuary, and also recognize everybody at home for watching. We really do appreciate that. We'd like to welcome any new folks we have here visiting Unity for the first time. Okay, all right, we got two back there. Okay, thank you. Welcome. Did they give you a welcome packet? Okay, gotcha. Well, it's wonderful to have you here. Hope you'll come back. All right, so we'll go ahead and start with our opening prayer. Everybody will just sit back and relax, take a few nice, deep, healing breaths. Yes, we want to say we're in the spirit of giving. We're in the days of being thankful. We want to thank Sweet Spirit for all that Spirit has done for us, is doing for us. Spirit, as we know, works through us to accomplish great things, as we're doing in this church right now, accomplishing really great things. And right now, I just think we need to, with all the things that are going on in the world, just kind of sit there and focus on all the good things that are going on in the world and all that we do have to be grateful for. So we want to recognize the Spirit inside of all of us, and just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. Thank you. Okay, let's start off today with our Unity of Richmond affirmation. Are you going to repeat? Unity of Richmond is abundantly blessed. Creative people are drawn to us. Divine ideas flow through us. Financial resources bless us. And with God as our source, we accomplish mighty works together. And we sure do. Okay, now time for the daily word. And today it is abundance. I gratefully take my place in an abundant world. Today I renew my appreciation for the world's abundance. From my personal belongings to inspiring public spaces and the wonders of the natural world, abundance surrounds me. It can be easy to take these things for granted, especially when the needs and obligations of daily life usurp my energy and attention. My focus is key. As I fill my senses with the beauty and goodness that surround me, I feel my gratitude for the world's bounty anew. God is the source of the abundance in my life. I am grateful for the goodness and grace of God that blesses the world and expresses at the point of me. I live abundantly grateful for all I've been given and for my opportunity to give back to it. And our verse this week, and my God will fully satisfy every need of yours according to his riches in glory Christ Jesus. And if everybody could please repeat to me our daily word affirmation today. I gratefully take my place in an abundant world. I gratefully take my place in an abundant world. One more time. I gratefully take my place in an abundant world. Will everybody please stand and let's sing.
So blessed, I am so grateful for all I have. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful. I am so blessed, I am so blessed, I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And yes, we are. All righty, that was beautiful. Okay, let's go and recite our Metro Richmond prayer. We pray for the persons in financial need in metropolitan Richmond, for the inclusion of all, regardless of race, age, or residency, in the economic health of metropolitan Richmond, for effective, affordable, regional public transportation to support job access. Right. Oh, opportunities. Okay, we do have lots of opportunities here at Unity of Richmond, especially this holiday season. So we're going to kick it off Saturday, November 30th with our holiday decorating day. It's going to be at 1 p.m. Right after church. It's always a lot of fun, so I hope everybody will come out, start celebrating the holiday season with us, and just work to beautify this place. It's always beautiful at Christmas. Okay. Holidays. All righty, we have a Reiki healing circle. We're having it, I believe, December the 1st. It's 12:30. It's right after the service. We have Mary Ellen, who is a Reiki master, and we have some other Reiki practitioners who are going to be here. So if you want to hang around a little bit after the service, experience Reiki, learn a little bit more about Reiki. I know Vicki and I, we will be here also as practitioners, being involved in that. So it's really a great thing. Okay, we got a cookie call. I'm going to ask Mary Ellen to come up. She'd like to talk to us about this.
Good morning. I think all of you know about Cardinal Elementary, where we support with quite a few of us doing reading or working one-on-one with students that need help with reading. It's a really special school, and we're going to have a Festival of Light, which we have every year. And during that, the families are all invited to come, and it's on Friday the 13th of December from 4 to 6. And what happens is the families come in the back door with the children, and they work their way through the school, and each place has games or activities or giving them small gifts, educational gifts and things. And our choir, Armand, has been wonderful in agreeing to put together a few people who will sing Christmas carols to the families as they pass through. So if anyone's interested in that, please let him know. And as they leave the school out the front door, Beatrice and I, and hopefully somebody else too, we'll see, are going to be handing out cookies to each person, each family member, as they leave. We've done this. This will be the 3rd year we've done this. So we need cookies badly, any kind of Christmas cookies. They love the decorated Christmas ones, the chocolate chip ones, the sugar ones, anything. And we hand each person, and it seems to really make them happy, brighten their day. So we're going to be collecting cookies for anyone that wants to bake cookies for us or contribute cookies. There'll be a sign-up sheet out in the hallway. Yes. And just let us know how many dozen, and then you can bring them anytime that week before, the week of the 9th, Monday through Thursday during office hours, which are 10 to 3:30. Just bring them and I'll pick them up on Thursday afternoon. So thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ellen. Yeah, and if anybody would be interested in singing that evening, please let me know. Be glad to have you. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about Christmas giving with Caritas, and I think Mike wants to come up with a couple announcements about that.
Good morning. For the last couple of years, we've been going to the women's shelter at Caritas and serving dinner on the third Friday of every month. This year, the third Friday is going to fall on December the 20th, and we're not only going to provide Christmas dinner to the shelter participants, but we're sort of organizing to put together some gift packages for the ladies who are there. We're looking for ladies' socks, ladies' gloves, and $10 gift certificates from the Dollar Tree. Mary Ellen, who was just up here a minute ago, and Lori are going to be putting those packages together. So if you're interested in joining us on the 20th, we'd love to have you. But if you can't be there on the 20th and you'd like to participate in this with us, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for those contributions. Also have a second announcement about Course in Miracles. For the last couple of years, we've been meeting and doing a Course in Miracles study group after church on Sundays for the last 2 years. We are going to start up again in January. If you've never been involved in the Course in Miracles, it has a textbook, it has a student workbook, and then it has a manual for teachers. We've done the workbook and the manual for teachers, and starting in January, we're going to go back and focus on the lessons. So if you've ever had some interest in exploring further what the Course in Miracles might do for you and how you handle your life on a daily basis, I invite you to plan to come join us in January. We're going to meet after church every Sunday, and if you come for the 4 Sundays in January, that'll give you a pretty good idea of whether you're ready for this and whether this is ready for you. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, and we have our holiday poinsettias. If you'd like to help Unity celebrate and decorate for this holiday season, you by purchasing a poinsettia. A donation of $18 will cover the cost of a large or 2 small poinsettias. So if you're interested in providing the poinsettias, you can just let one of us know, and we'd be glad to have those. They're going to be very pretty. Okay, want to remind everybody that December 3rd is Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday, basically, I don't know a lot of history about it, but I know that it is like a national giving day. So people give to their nonprofits, their favorite nonprofits. Of course, Unity of Richmond, we always, appreciate the donations, to help us, keep the church running and support all the wonderful programs that we do have here. So just a reminder for that. Yes. Right. Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yes, 50% of all the designated donations will go directly to the outreach programs. So, all right. Okay, now we're going to turn it over to our great music team, Ian and Forrest, and Ian's going to have a song for us today. All right.
Also, I'm not sure if it was up there, but December 8th at 4 p.m., the lovely Katrina Carroll Lewis, we love her so much, we're doing a retrospective of 2024. So 4 p.m. December 8th. It's coming up really soon. It's going to be super fun. Forrest will be here. One power, one power, one power. There's one power invisible, and you see it everywhere and every day. One power indescribable,
and you speak of it with every word you say. Mysterious until you know the truth, as simple as the love inside of you. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, angel's wings or heaven's door. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? It's the power of love in you and me. One power, one power, one power. We speak so many languages, have different clothing, different colors, different names, but different is only dangerous when we forget that in the heart we're all the same. We'll remember once we close our eyes to see that such distances were never meant to be. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it Jesus, call it Lord, call it Buddha, Baha'u'llah, Hashem or heaven's door. It's Muhammad, it's your mind, it's your soul or it's your sign. It's the universe, it's music, Mother Earth or Father Time. But whatever name you give it, it's all one power, can't you see? Whatever name you give it, it's the very air we breathe. It's the power of the love in you and me. One power, one power, one power, one power, one power, one power.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ian and Forrest. That was beautiful. Okay, so today we have a video, Interfaith and Unity. This is by the Reverend Paul John Roach, well known in the Unity community. Actually, this is part 3 in a series that we've been showing. Let's go ahead and welcome Reverend Paul John Roach to Unity of Richmond.
So hello there, I'm Paul John Roach, Unity Minister and author of the Unity book, Unity and World Religions. And this is part 3 in our series focusing on the golden thread of universal truth. And this week our focus will be particularly on interfaith and unity. I think what we've learned so far from our series is that the commonalities between religions is greater than what separates them. At least that's my attempt to demonstrate that truth, that fact. But I think it does come forth in what we've talked about so far. That doesn't mean that all religions are the same. The diversity actually is good, valuable, and necessary, and that we can learn from each other, because that's the whole idea behind diversity, to celebrate it. But underlying everything is that common purpose, that core understanding of universal truth. Again, it's like everyone loves differently, but the essence is still love, right? That's the commonality, and yet we celebrate it and how it shows up in many various ways. William James, the great philosopher, religious philosopher of the 19th century, pointed out that there were 2 tendencies within religion. One pointed to a healthy mindedness, and the other to a toxicity or a sick soul. And I think this is a useful polarity that we can use today. Diversity is healthy, but when it devolves into separation and judgment, then we have a problem. And so this is what we're attempting to solve in terms of interfaith. If it's my religion, my way, and I'm better than yours, then this is evidence really of a toxicity or a sickness of the soul, rather than a healthy mindedness. A healthy mindedness celebrates diversity but looks for commonality. So we see that divisiveness, unfortunately, in many religions today, especially in their fundamentalist aspects, whether that be Christianity or Islam, Hinduism, or Judaism. And unfortunately, we can often see it even in our own unity, yeah, that sometimes we could separate ourselves off from each other. There's misunderstandings. Some people want to go back to the core teachings of Charles Fillmore. Some want to be more Christian than others. Some embrace universalism. And it can get a little bitter sometimes, which is unfortunate because we need to celebrate the diversity of our movement, which is part of its health, its healthy mindedness. So the purpose of interfaith, as I understand it, is to counter these divisions and this divisiveness and offer a higher way. Sort of a four-part flow here. It's a way that allows for differences. That's number one. As we're saying, diversity and difference is okay. Accepts them for what they are, without trying to force them to be something else. Celebrates at the same time commonality, and works together to embrace and to love. So there's a marrying there. There's a marrying of the differences and the diversity with an acceptance, and then with a practical step of how do we come together in spite of our differences or in celebration of our diversity. And this is, as William James would say, healthy minded, right? It's a helpful way to approach the world. So what does interfaith rest upon? I offer 10 things and see what you think. I'm sure there's more, but this has been some food for thought. Number one, a common humanity. And it's not the idea of a common understanding of divinity or anything like that, or a common understanding of God. No, we start with our common humanity, that we're all human beings on this planet, and we share that. And we have to get along in that context. And so to share a common humanity is crucially important, because all human beings go through the same things, right? They may do it in different ways. My life might be unique to me and yours to you, but we still go through the same joys and sorrows, the losses that we face, the joys that we celebrate, the love for our children. So there's a common humanity there. And I think that's the beginning of interfaith. Second is the essential nature of love, because as we said, as we love our children, so we know that all human beings, unless they're extremely aberrant, love their children. We love our families. We love those that are similar to us, but we also try and extend to those who are not similar to us. So there's that sense of embracing love. And if all you can do is love yourself, then at least you're exhibiting some kind of love, which is important. So it's acknowledging that at essence, we are beings of love. Three, there's the common goal of freedom. And when I say freedom, it works on all levels. So it can be free to let me be who I am, right? Or freedom to see that all beings are worthy of justice and possibility. And so I'm working for that freedom. So it works from the very level of self-interest to selflessness. But it's still the same idea that we want some kind of freedom to be able to be integrated people doing what we have chosen to do with a certain amount of ability without being forced by another into a way of thinking or being. Number 4, an innate desire to cooperate and help. And I believe that's inbuilt into humanity. I actually believe it's inbuilt into all sentient beings. This idea that we're cooperative, that we help each other, and that's a natural thing. I've noticed many times when there's a horrific atrocity happen, then many people will come around to help and to step forward as heroes in a very selfless way. And to me, that speaks to this idea of our willingness to cooperate and help is so much greater than our competitiveness and our willingness to tear things down. So I believe that is, and perhaps I'm an idealist in that regard, but I do believe that's the case. And if we look at our society, it exists and continues to unfold because of everybody's willingness to be part of that great event, which is a complex modern society. The 5th is a societal imperative. It's tantamount to our survival, because if we divide, we die, right? And we've seen this over and over, that societies may survive for a while when they're selfish, but it doesn't last. It's self-destructive. And if we want to survive, long-term survival on this planet and thrive on this planet, then we have to cooperate with each other. It's absolute necessity. And again, this is a hard one because we still live in a tribal society. Our tribes are now countries or religious affiliations, but it's still a tribal approach, and we need to move beyond that. Again, celebrating differences, but acknowledging that we're one in truth. Number 6, desire for dialogue. No matter how difficult things get, I think we're always willing somewhere to want to talk about it, to forgive, to move forward. You can hold out for a long time, but ultimately there is that desire to put that to rest, because we know innately within us that unfinished business is hurtful to ourselves, right? If we can't forgive, we can't let go, we are hurting ourselves. What do they say? Resentment is taking a poison yourself and hoping the other one will die. This is self-destructive. So we need dialogue, and Interfaith is a huge part of having that dialogue. Whether there's difference and change is secondary to the fact that we can at least talk to each other. 7, the need to shift paradigms. I kind of already mentioned this earlier in terms of tribalism versus something greater, but the shifting the paradigm is of crucial importance, I think, in our modern society, because we're reaching the level now of overpopulation, of climate change, and other stressors that are going to require paradigm change. We cannot proceed in the same manner that we have for the last couple of 100 years, because the Industrial Revolution and technology has brought us wonders, but it's also brought us to the brink of catastrophe. And so there has to be a shift there. And I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but we are part of that, folks. In Unity, we're on the cutting edge of that new paradigm, which is exciting. Number 8, peace. Just as we can't have a shift in paradigmic thinking if we don't shift our mental attitude to things, then we won't have peace either. There's going to be endless conflict, and unfortunately we see that played out locally and nationally, internationally, conflicts all around the world. And of course, people have always been at war. I don't think there's been a time in history where there hasn't been a war. So this is a common thing, but doesn't mean it has to be an eternal thing. Second, the ultimate goal, this is the ultimate goal of Interfaith, is to overcome a sense of separation. And I mentioned that sense of separation, I think, in the first part of our series, that idea that we are separate from each other, separate from certainly other nations, other ideas. But, you know, truth demonstrates to us that none of us are separate. We are totally interdependent. We live in a world economy. The whole vast network of the world, of the universe, is interconnected. There is no separation in truth. And so we are part of the whole. And to understand that and to truly appreciate that is to move to that next level of understanding. And then finally, deeper still, is the mystical core, which is of particular interest to me, of course, as a mystic and a metaphysician. The mystic core universality that is found in all the world's religions and connects us together. Let me take a drink of water. Oh, excuse me. What I want you to notice is that most of these statements, these 10 statements that I've just elucidated, are not to do with religion, right? But speak to the essential integrity of our humanness, our self-worth. And this is vastly important, I think. Rather than begin by looking at God and the different ways we look at God, different theological concepts, the essential core of interfaith is to look at our humanity and how we show up, the commonalities around love and connectedness and such like. So, wonderful. Excuse me, I've got a little bit of a frog in my throat here. So, how do we develop an interfaith approach? It begins, by the way, in our own community, in our own lives, right? In our circle of friends, in our town, and then it goes forth from there. So it has to begin locally, as the old saying from the 60s, you know, think globally, act locally. We have to think in universal global terms, but the work begins locally. And it can begin in our own families, right? Where we connect with someone that has a different viewpoint on us, a different religious viewpoint, perhaps. There's room for interfaith work right there. So I offer 7 approaches here to develop an interfaith way of thinking, and possibly an interfaith group in your own spiritual community or in your own city or town, and ways that we can make it a successful endeavor. So here's the 7. First of all, as we've said before, accept differences. Churches, in many regards, I think, unity churches and any other church or center are like spiritual hospitals, right? And we come to those spiritual hospitals because we feel it is a safe place to be honest about ourselves, to reveal ourselves, to seek support, to seek help. And so when we're in hospital, when we have a certain need, we're very vulnerable, and sometimes that can be taken advantage of by those of us who aren't as sensitive as others, and it can be sometimes a hurtful place, you know. A spiritual hospital is a place where we often project on others because we don't want to deal with our own difficulties, and so it can be a place of hard graft sometimes to be in that community. But the work is to accept differences and not to go ape because somebody has a different viewpoint from your own, or to judge them. They're not living the unity principles, you know, etc. Which is a very judgmental way to approach it, isn't it? So to accept differences, and we can just meditate on that for months, actually. How do I do that? How do I accept differences without judgment, right? To acknowledge that I don't particularly like that behavior, but I'm not going to judge it. I'm going to see it for what it is. That person is doing the best that they can at any given time. So that's number 1. Number 2, celebrate our common humanity. As we stated earlier, there is that common humanity, and we can celebrate that. Just make that be enough. Leave God out of it for now and just celebrate that common humanity and how it shows up. You know, we can celebrate the fact that food is on our table and came from a multiplicity of people and circumstances. The person who grew it for us, the person who transported it to us, processed it, the person with the logistics to get it into the store, and then our ability to have abundance in a grocery store to get the food that we need. This is a shared common humanity where so many people have contributed to our well-being and our health. So thank you, God, for that, right? That is a celebration of that. Number 3, looking for commonalities and understanding. And we're reiterating some of these things that we talked about earlier, but they bear repeating because they're so essentially valuable. Look for commonalities. We may not have much in common with another person, but maybe there's one thing where we do share something, and that's where we need to emphasize, put our attention, and open our hearts to that person in that regard. Because sometimes miracles can happen when we can allow just a moment of connectedness to happen. We don't have to agree on everything, but there's that moment where we've shared something. And I believe in that. I think that is hugely important, to look for commonalities. Number 4, agree in practice, if not in theory. This is huge. It was years ago, I think it was Bishop Don Cupid said that we can differ in theory, but still agree on the practice. And I love that idea because, you know, theoretically, we can have all kinds of ideas, right? But when the metal hits the plate, or whatever the phrase is, when we get down to business, then that's what really counts, is what can we put into practice on any given day. And courtesy, for instance, is important. You know, if I could be courteous to somebody, regardless of who they are, I might not theoretically agree with anything that they are, but I can still be courteous. I can still be gracious. And that's a gift that I give to myself as well, because I go through life in a more peaceful way than if I'm looking for differences and finding irritation and frustration with other human beings. 5, work together on projects. I think this is a way that we transcend differences. I know many people who have taken up not just a hobby, but an interest, a focus, where they want to do something that can make a difference. And the idea of doing something simple, maybe planting a tree, going to a rally, listening to somebody, writing a letter, being part of a project that shifts ideas, makes a difference or a change in society. That this can be deeply satisfying and powerful. Actually, it can evoke change in the situation, in the city you're in, wherever. And so I think working on a project, and also you get to know somebody in a different way, a different context. It's not about their ideas and their theories about stuff. It's about how willing are they to practice on that, to do that project as you are doing it too. For many years, I conducted a garden day every week at our church. We had a large garden, and we would gather a garden team. And it was a joy for me as minister to just get dirty that day and get some dirt under my fingernails and do some digging and weeding and just interact with people in the community. And we didn't usually talk about spirituality. We just talked about our lives and about plants and about the weather or whatever it was. But it was a lovely thing because I always felt very close to those people because I had that connection to the earth and to the natural forces of the universe and Mother Nature, and the ability just to do something with love in a very simple way was rewarding for me, but I think it was rewarding for for the team too, and we had joy in doing that. And of course, it was a project, so we saw the results. We saw that garden flowering. 6, honor the other rather than demonizing it. Yeah, this is hugely important and often very difficult, because the other is often seen as the enemy, right? To be overcome, to be destroyed. And sometimes that can't happen. We're not going to be able to do that. So therefore we get very, very frustrated. We turn our frustration inwards, and it can be dangerous to our health, both physical and mental. And the idea of honoring the other and accepting the other doesn't mean I have to agree with them or enjoy their behavior or anything like that. But I am refusing to demonize the other, because I know if I do, then I have cast them out from my worldview, and I am bereft, because I have left out part of me, because we're all one in spirit. So to honor the other and allow that to be okay, even in the fragmented world we live in, to acknowledge that what is happening, and it doesn't have to change right now. What's more important is for me to look at it clearly. I would like to see changes for horrors and atrocities, but I need to see clearly why these things are happening in the first place, so I can then go a little deeper and see what the true solution might be. Number 7, explore the perennial philosophy as it shows up in all traditions. And I love interfaith gatherings where people share prayers or poems or beautiful statements by members of that tradition. And we notice how similar they might be to our own understanding, and we can get inspiration from other great mystics and teachers of various world religions. And it can be deeply rewarding. And we've all got a list, I think, of people that inspire us, people that help us connect to that perennial philosophy of universal truth. For me, Meister Eckhart, the great Catholic mystic of the Middle Ages, is a perfect example, because he is far and above one of the deepest mystics, I think, that's ever existed. And people have done studies on him, comparing him to the Buddhist teachers and mystics, and finding extreme commonalities and resonances. And I think this is interesting, that he transcended the frameworks or the structures of Christianity and got into a deep space of unity. Wonderful teachings. I encourage anybody to study a little bit about Meister Eckhart. A modern example might be Thomas Merton and his wonderful books. I love the New Seeds of Contemplation that he wrote towards the end of his life. Deep practical spirituality. Again, he transcended Catholicism for universal spirituality. In our own time, we have Richard Rohr, who's doing marvelous work on unitive thinking, and providing that on a daily basis. If you join his webcast, and just wonderful truth. And another one of my favorites is Ramana Maharshi, the great 19th and 20th century guru from South India. Wonderful teacher. He influenced so many people, showed up in many ways. He was one of the characters in The Razor's Edge by Somerset Maugham. He featured in other well-known documentaries. A wonderful teacher, still resonating with us today. And you can read books about him and his teachings. Very simple teachings, but very profound. And he talked about self-inquiry, asking ourselves, who am I? Excuse me, there's that cough again. And I believe that that question, who am I, is one of the most profound questions we can ask ourselves, because we come to the understanding that I have a body, but I am not the body. I have a mind, I'm not just my mind. I have circumstances, but I'm not just about my circumstances. And we trace it all the way through until we come to that understanding that I am spirit, I am unlimited, I am that. I am that beauty, that joy, that possibility, which is the Christ within me. And it goes even beyond the Christ, because Christ is a label. And so I'm more than even labels. I am simply that beauty. We could call it love. We could call it infinity, but I am that. And that is our enlightened experience. So lovely stuff. Dogen, the Zen Buddhist, also wrote some magnificent teachings. And Dalai Lama, again, has been influential for many of us because of his joy and his laughter. And Thich Nhat Hanh, another Zen Buddhist, again, has written wonderful books. Lao Tzu, I was 24, I think. I'd read Lao Tzu before that, but at 24, somebody provided me with a copy of the Tao Te Ching, and I read it from beginning to end. You know, it's 81 short chapters. It's something you can read in an afternoon, but you can study it for life. It's so profound and transformed my life, I think, at that time. It was very meaningful to me. And because it's so beyond religion, it's not limited to any way of thinking. It simply is, and its deep wisdom penetrates way into your being. And that's been an endless source of inspiration for me from that time that I read it. You may have something, some text, some idea that happened at a certain time in your life, and it was like one of those, whoa, break open aha moments, yeah? When nothing was the same afterwards. And those are wonderful times, right? And then it takes a little while to integrate the inspiration that you had during that time. And that's great. We need time to have the aha, and then time to integrate it. It's not just mystics here. We're talking about poets. We referenced in other parts of our series the inspiration of Rumi and Hafiz. Many of us love Mary Oliver because of her spirituality. John O'Donoghue, the Irish poet and writer. And it goes on. Artists can be influential in our lives. Musicians. I think of Krishna Das, and his kirtan singing is so profound and beautiful for me, and opens up my heart whenever I listen to it. And other kirtan singers. So whatever it is that connects us with other religions, with other traditions, where we find that beauty, then that's part of the work of Interfaith. So I encourage you to begin an Interfaith team in your own community, which begins by doing some inner work yourself. What is Interfaith for you? Can I appropriate these 7 approaches I've just talked about? Do the 10 aspects of Interfaith resonate with me? I hope you can go back into this this talk again and see what resonates, because that's part of the inner work we do before we even start an Interfaith team. And then once we've done that work, and you may do it with a few other people, but gather together then and explore that for yourselves. What have you come to agree are the common important aspects of Interfaith? And only then it may be reach out to interfaith communities or other churches or mosques or temples in your area to create Interfaith. There are many Interfaith groups and movements in cities throughout America, so you may be able to join one of those. But the reaching out is often a joy too, and the fact that people are interested, I think people resonate with that. Oh, they're interested in my particular path, my particular religion. This is cool. And so there's that joy that comes from that. So I encourage you to do that. And when we do it, by the way, it's a win-win. It's a win-win for unity, and it's a win-win for those other communities, because what we're doing is coming together in love and unity. And that's really part and parcel of our unity movement, what we're endeavoring to do. Charles Fillmore never wanted to found a religion or a denomination. It was always a movement, because he welcomed all religions and all movements, all denominations to come and deepen through their applying of the unity principles. And so we can reach out, we can fulfill that dream of Charles Fillmore by not devolving into a denomination ourselves, but remembering that we are a movement that is trans-denominational, that is universal, and reaches out to all people. So as we conclude this third part, let's enter into a time of meditation, and we'll meditate on the idea of embracing others. So let's take a moment to relax, take a load off. Again, we've listened to a lot of stuff here. Let's put it aside and simply calmly abide. Be tranquil. And that begins with breathing. Taking a deep breath in and a relaxed breath out. I have nothing more to do than simply be present to what is right now. Simply calmly abide in this moment and find tranquility. When ideas come, they're like clouds in the sky. I let them arise. You see them floating across that sky of my consciousness. I let them go and I return to perfect stillness. I calmly abide. And from that calmness, from that open space of allowance, that sky-like feeling of spaciousness, openness, clarity, then I can begin to recollect and examine and allow my intuition to guide me. What is important for me today? Not the minutiae of my life, but what is my path? How can I extend love? How can I create a greater interfaith awareness? What is mine to do? I cannot reach out to others unless I am clear about what is mine to do, until I am clear about who I am, till I know that I have something to give. Whatever comes to you in this time of recollection is valuable for you. It is yours alone. When that awareness arises, when that insight comes to us, then we are ready to act, to live from that. And this meditation today is a very short one, but we can practice this calm abiding, an openness to insight and investigation and recollection whenever we have more time to fully go through this process and allow clarity to come into our minds so that we're able then to take action from that inspiration. There is power in doing this, in clarifying what is ours to do, and then going forth to do it. Once again, we return to stillness, giving thanks for all that we've received from the inner and the outer, all the many gifts that have come to us this lifetime, and all the good now flowing. And for all this, we say thank you to all the great way showers for their guidance, for the spirit of love within us, for the omnipresence of God, and for the perfect peace that transcends all human understanding that is now our birthright. And so it is. Amen. So thank you so much once again for being with me for part 3. And in part 4, we'll look at how to have a direct experience of the truth. Join me then. Bye-bye now.
All right. I'd like to thank Reverend Roach for that great inspiring talk. Okay, can I have my ushers come forth? Thank you. Okay, and before we do our blessing, I just want to, remind folks of our Back in the Black campaign. We started that a couple of months ago. I do have really good news for the month of October. Been one of the best months we've had in quite a while as far as love offerings and gifts go to the church. So I think we ought to give ourselves a big hand. All right. And I just want to remind everybody, if you are interested in being a consistent giver, we do have cards out there in the gathering space. And if you already are a consistent giver, we are asking everyone to please fill out a pledge card. That way we'll get an idea as we put together the budget for next year, what our goals will need to be. So again, thank you so much. All right, prosperity blessing. Repeat after me. Divine love flows from me as a spirit of generosity. I know that as I give generously, I enter the flow of abundance. Every good possibility comes into view. As I swim in the stream of infinite good, I am the harmony of divine love, blessed, overflowing. Yes. Okay, Ian.
Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. I'm not holding it in anymore. I'm gonna shout it out loud. I understand now what I'm here for and what this life is about. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of this heart of mine. and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. It's about love, it's about laughter, it's about comfort and smiles. It's about love, it's about kindness, it's about hearts open wide. It's about love, it's about passion, it's about taking a chance. It's about love, it's about service, it's about lending a hand. About lending a hand. Swing wide the doors, the time is right. Swing wide the doors to let in the light. Bring in the dawn for humankind. Swing wide the doors of his heart of mine. Swing wide the doors of his heart of mine. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Ian and Forrest. Beautiful. I don't see any kids back there to welcome. Okay. All right, let's bless our gifts, everyone. We give thanks for the gifts that will support our mission of creating a spiritually awakened world. All right, thank you, guys. All right, thank yous today. Boy, we'd like to thank our music team, Forrest and Ian, always putting out some great stuff for us. Thanks to the audiovisual team in the back, Natasha and Lynn. Also like to thank, and someone else, oh, Bernice, I'm sorry, Bernice. She sits down there, I can't always see her. All right, and I want to thank Debbie for keeping our space so beautiful all week long. And let's see, did I forget anybody? Reverend Roach, again, of course, for his great inspiring talk for us. And me, oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And I just want to, we have the prayer chaplains that are always available after the service to pray with you. Looks like we have Stephen here. And I'd just like to wish everyone a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving coming up. Safety if you're traveling out of town, that you get there and return back home safely. And just want to thank everyone in this congregation and everyone out there at home for being with us today and being such a wonderful part of this wonderful church. Thank you so much. Okay, let's do our prayer of protection, then our peace song. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well, and it is.